Our oceans sustain life. An abundant ocean can feed 1 billion people a healthy meal every day forever. But now they are being killed by throwaway plastics. The equivalent of 1 garbage truck of plastic is dumped in the sea every minute. 17.6 billion pounds every year. Plastic is everywhere in our ocean, floating on the surface, mixing in the salt water, and sitting on the ocean bottom, miles and miles deep. And once in the ocean, it never goes away. Over hundreds of years, it breaks down into small pieces. But those pieces, even the tiny ones called microplastics, are still plastic.
Ways to use plastic effectively: reuse, repurpose, recycle, and reinvent.
Plastic is a synthetic material made from a wide range of organic polymers such as polyethylene, PVC, nylon, and others. Plastic can be molded into shape while soft and then set into a rigid and slightly elastic form. Did you know the English word of plastic originated from the Greek word that is plastikos, which means to grow or form?
Light in weight and chemically stable, good insulation and low thermal conductivity, good impact resistance, did not rust, and good transparency and wear resistance.
The plastic cup is reusable. But before that, do you know what is reuse? Reusing in environment health and safety or waste prevention terminology means using an object or resource materials again for either the same purpose or another purpose without changing the object structure in a significant way. There are many of easy and creative ways of how to reuse the plastic item. Here are a few ideas of how to reuse the plastic item instead of tossing them. For example, we can reuse the plastic cup as a cup to drink the water. Besides, we also can reuse plastic bottle as a bottle to fill with water. Other than that, we can reuse plastic bag obtained from the store to store the item. There are many benefits when we practice plastic reuse, such as we can save our money. We do not need to buy other plastic items. In fact, we can just reuse the plastic items. Then we can reduce the amount of plastic sent to the landfill. The more people adapt plastic reuse, the less plastic disposal. Lastly, we also can reduce pollution. Reusing plastic water bottles means that there is less demand to manufacture new bottles from virgin petroleum resin, and this leads to production of less trash that ends up in landfills, streams, and parks. I hope we can adopt the use of plastic recycling to conserve the environment.
Hi there, my name is RIDZWAN. So, the second way to leverage this plastic is by repurposing it. So, what do you think about repurpose? Repurpose is the use of something for a purpose other than its original purpose. Or in the other words, we can use the item in a new way. For example, we can use a tire that functioned as a wheel originally to a large flower pot. However, the context we discuss here is about repurposing plastic. So before I show you an example that you can make yourself at home, so let me share some benefits of repurposing plastics. One of the benefits is cost effective, where we do not need to buy a new product. In addition, through repurposing, the amount of plastic waste can also be reduced to a normal level. Okay, so here we have a plastic bottle, and I will apply the concept of repurposing plastic by turning this bottle into a funnel. So let's go.
Okay, so to make a funnel by using these plastic bottles, we only need our used plastic bottle, a pair of scissors, and a marker. Okay, first one, we need to mark which part we want to cut from this bottle. Okay, so I think I will cut from this line. Okay, now I'm done mark this bottle. Okay, so what do I have to do now is just cut this bottle, and then the funnel is done. Okay, so let's wash out. Okay, so now we done cut the bottle. Okay, as you can see here. Okay, and there's two parts of bottle after we cut it, after I cut it. So the first one we can use as funnel, and this one we can use as a container, so you can put whatever you want to put in here. Okay, so now let's see if it's effective or not. Okay, let's go. Okay, now what we have here, okay, the funnel that I just made before and the full tank. Okay, so now we just open it. Sorry for the bad lighting. Okay, and then okay, so just that. When you want to refill the full, just put it here, and then it will just goes to the full tank. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you.
Stop! This is wrong. We should separate our rubbish too. Rubbish that can be recycled and rubbish that can't be recycled. Also separate rubbish that can be recycled to glass, paper, and plastic. What is recycle?
Recycle is to process something in order to regain material for human use. For example, plastic recycling. Plastic recycling is the processing of plastic waste into new and useful products. Recycling plastic is necessary because almost all plastic is non-biodegradable and thus go out in the environment where it causes harm. Recycling is performed by remelting and reforming used plastic into new items, so-called mechanical recycling. Alternative approach, known as feedstock recycling, waste plastic is converted back into its starting chemicals, which can then be processed back into fresh plastic.
Stop! This is wrong. Rubbish that can be recycled need to throw into the recycle bin according to its material. How to know which recycle bin is for glass, paper, and plastic? There are 3 colors of recycle bin: brown for glass, blue for paper, and orange for plastic. Make sure throw the rubbish according to its material.
remember, recycling is important to help protect the environment, because by recycling can reduce the need for extracting, refining and processing raw material, all of which create substantial air and water pollution. As recycling saves energy, it also reduces greenhouse gas emissions, which helps to tackle climate change.
The next way that we can apply to use our plastic more efficiently is by reinvent. So first of all, what is the definition of reinvent? Reinvent is the process or the act by replacing a product with the entirely new version. Easily said, that reinvent process is to produce something new that is based on the something that already exists. Thus, instead of disposing plastic that we no longer use into the trash can, so we can reinvent it into the something new. For example, the empty bottle plastic like this can make a vase. By making a vase from these empty bottle plastics, it will allow us to decorate our home or house by adding a bouquet of beautiful flowers into the vase, like this. Now, we just know the definition and the example of reinvent process. So, let's go to the factory and we see how the process of reinvent being held at there. Let's go! Firstly, the used plastic bottles that be sent into the factory will be washed. Then, the plastic bottles and their caps will be ground into a flakes. The flakes from the plastic bottle and the cap are placed in the water. Then, the cap flakes will be float on the top of the water and the bottom flakes will be sink into the bottom of the water. Then, the sorted plastic flakes are washed and dried and some of them will be melted into a gooey liquid. Next, the metal plastic will push through into small opening to make a long and thin strands. Then, the plastic strands are chopped into a pellets. Then, lastly, plastic pellets that been produced will be used to make a new product such as clothes like this. Now, we just learned all the ways that we can apply to use plastic more efficiently, which are we just learned 4 ways. Firstly, reuse, then repurpose, then recycle, and lastly, reinvent process. So that's all from our video. I hope you learned something from our video and we will see you next time. Bye bye and thank you.